Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Let the sky fall when it crumbles. We will stand tall and face it all together.
Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Movie Show. If you are listening to us on Spreaker Live, sorry for the slight delay there. We only have one film to review this week, and it's a small little movie called...
Well, do we really have to? I mean...
Well, I think Adele introduced it there, didn't she?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we can. I suppose we can do Skyfall, barring any further technical difficulties before the show gets going.
Yeah, or I could review a weirdly strange German vampire film, which I forgot to see.
Does it have Werner Herzog in it?
No, but it was supposed to be deemed as sort of like this year's Let the Right One In. So I'm surprised I didn't get to see it. But we'll just stick to Skyfall. No,
I wanna. Now I say that actually, I want a vampire film with Werner Herzog in it.
Might be interesting. On top of all that we've just blabbered on now, so it's Skyfall we're reviewing. We have the latest movie news in the box office top 10. But if you listen to us live on Spreaker, get us in the live chat. Yes, finally, I know, I'm sorry. Right, let's start off with the box office top 10. At number 10, Brave.
Well, I mean, what can we say? It's Pixar that's not Pixar, really. Disney and Pixar get together with an animation that looks fairly good. The story's not especially brilliant. The character's not particularly interesting. It's fun, but it's too dark for 3D, and it's not really interesting. It's just in the top 10 again because of the fact of the schools are out, so it's doing more business again.
Yeah, number 9, Beasts of the Southern Wild. It's a new entry.
Yeah, you'll have to cover this one because I have no idea. I am late getting in to do the show as well, so I haven't had a chance to even look this up.
I haven't seen Beasts of the Southern Wild, but from what I gather, it's about a 6-year-old girl called Hush Puppy. It's the director, what he's decided to do is he's taken actors who've never acted before, and it's centers around, like I said, a 6-year-old girl called Hush Puppy who looks after her father. His father has got this debilitating disease. The ice caps are melting, so their small little town is going to get flooded. Plus, it's released these strange little fairy kind of creatures, so it's supposed to be a really strange movie. However, it's been getting major critical acclaim, and it sounds like an interesting film, but I've not seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. I might. It depends because I know my local screen isn't seeing it, but I may get a chance towards the end of the week if my cinema, another one that's near where I work, will be maybe showing it. I'll have to look and see if I can see that. But let's go on to the next one.
At number 8, The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Now, we still haven't seen this one. I'm annoyed because I did want to see it. It is now out of my local cinema, so I doubt I'm going to get a chance to see it. But it looks like a really good film, getting really good word of mouth of a drama set around a group of teens going into sort of teens and early 20s going into college and sort of kind of a not teenage but early 20s rebellion sort of thing in the group, and it's a few people with Emma Watson.
Yep.
Emma Watson, yeah, and Ezra Miller, who are supposedly really good in this film. That it's kind of like from everything I gather of it, it's kind of like a Cameron Crowe film. So I do want to see it, and I've heard good things about it, but unfortunately just not had the chance.
Yeah, and Booger in the live chat has said Emma Watson. Leave her alone, Booger. You're too old for her. At number 7, Sinister.
You've seen this, but I haven't because I'm a coward. Sorry.
At least you were honest there, though, because you're a coward. Yeah, Sinister. It's one of those films where it suffers from the fact that it's got a really good idea. It follows through with the good idea for the first 45 minutes. After that, it just falls apart a bit and it becomes a bit bog standard. It loses the scares. It loses the tension. It's okay. It's directed by Scott Derrickson, who has this problem with doing okay movies. He's falls in a comfort zone but he never seems to be able to get out of this rut that he's in, and it's decent enough, but not that. It's okay. It's the best I can say about it. Yeah. At number 6, and you went for Frankenweenie.
Which is, it's good, but it's disappointing. There's not enough material in it to last 90 minutes for a film. It started out originally as a short, which was about I think it was about 35 minutes, something like that long, and it really should have stayed as that, because it's got this big lull in the middle where nothing happens after the big opening sort of thing going on, and then there's a little bit slight ramp up at the end with a disaster thing happening. But overall, it's this kind of kids paranormal movie, which Paranorman did better.
Yeah, Mr. Moobs has just said a really disturbing thing in the live chat, that he wants to cover Emma Watson in Pilchards. Which, move on. At number 5, Looper.
Sorry, I'm just distracted by that. Looper, possibly the best time travel film to come out in the last decade. Certainly one of the smarter films that have been around the subject, with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt both on top form, playing the same character, one younger, one older, obviously, and one has to try and hunt down and kill the other. But then it turns into this other sort of twisty sort of thriller as thing evolved, with Emily Blunt's character in the film as well, which it's kind of a cross of two films, but it works really well. It's really complex and yet really entertaining.
Yeah, at number 4, Hotel Transylvania.
Which is surprising for an Adam Sandler film to be as enjoyable as it is and not be as annoying as it could have been. Him playing the voice of Dracula, who is sort of running this hotel for all the types of monsters, the werewolf man, the invisible man, Frankenstein, all these other ones. And it's another one of these kids horror films, because it's Halloween coming up and we've got horror and kids films. This is the one that's the least scary for kids. It's not the funniest, but it is quite a lot of fun.
Yeah, before we go on to the next one, Booger says, is Looper better than 13 Monkeys? 12 Monkeys. It's one of those numbers.
Very similar. It's not as depressing, I don't find, although it is very dark. There are some very dark moments in it. But it's less psychological, I'll say that.
Yeah.
But it's about the same kind of thing.
Yeah, at number 3, Taken 2.
Which is just deplorable, cash-in, terrible rubbish, which is just focusing on action instead of having any kind of thriller elements, which is what the first one was all about. First one's a brilliant thriller. Second one is no thriller and action, which isn't really action because it's just boring as...
Yeah, that's how I feel about the film that's at number 2 in your entry for Paranormal Activity 4.
Yeah, go on then, because I haven't seen this one again, because it's a horror. Yeah, okay, I admit it. It's horror. Yeah. I don't like it.
Paranormal Inactivity, more like it, because it is boring with absolutely nothing happening in the movie at all. It's on for around about 90 minutes. It has an interesting scene using Kinect from Microsoft. That's about as good as the film gets. There is no scares in it whatsoever. It follows the same formula the other ones have, and it has this stupid thing where everything is practically shot on a laptop, and if something supernatural or disturbing is happening in the house where you are, you're really going to run around with a laptop in your hand at all times. It's just stupid, and a stupid film, and the series should end now.
I'm surprised saying that they didn't get them working in something to use Apple phone cameras or something instead for the more product placement.
Now that's going to be number 5 because they went with Microsoft for number 4, and so they're going to cover as many bases as they possibly can with number 5 with the series. So with number 5 they'll go with Apple or Samsung.
God.
Yeah, number 1, a brand new entry for Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted.
Which I think you and I both agree on, that we were pleasantly surprised by how much we enjoyed this, considering the first two are at best average animation films, and this one is really well animated, quite funny and well written, and just enjoyable from start to finish.
Yep, but I can't say any more than that. It's a really fun film and beautiful to look at times, specifically the circus scenes, which are just absolutely jaw-droppingly gorgeous. The amount of colours that they throw at the screen at you, and it's a really nice film to look at, and it moves along at a hefty pace. There's always something happening on screen.
Yeah, and as Garage just said in the chat, Afro Circus. Yeah,
we are not singing it again.
That's going to be my new phrase now. It's going to be like Afro Circus for the win, I think.
Yeah, we are not singing it again. No chance. Right, let's get on to some movie news. Wanted 2 screenwriter Derek Haas has revealed a few plot details about the upcoming sequel. He told The Hollywood Reporter, "The only thing I can tell you is that Wesley is now, 4 years later, recruiting a young woman who's in his situation as in the first film. James McAvoy will return as Wesley Gibson, with the film set to be directed by Timur Bekmambetov."
I'm not going to say his name again because I still can't say it properly. I mean, he
hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything decent since Wanted.
Yeah, Wanted, and then Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which is just like Wanted. Crap. Abraham Lincoln Wanted Vampire Hunter, because it is simply the plot of Wanted, just set with vampires and set with Abraham Lincoln as the main character. I mean, come on, it's completely the same. But I mean, tell him to focus on the writing first, and then start making it. Don't start making it and then write it.
Yeah, like you said, he shouldn't write it. I don't think he should write it. I think he should get somebody else to write it. He should leave Derek Haas alone. Let Derek Haas do the writing job on it, and he should just direct it, because everything that he's wrote has been rubbish.
Didn't he write Night Watch though?
Yeah, he did, but after that, he's gone downhill, because he did have a hand in the writing with Apollo 18. He did, and so he's no good at doing anything else apart from directing.
Okay.
Right, Matthew Vaughn will now no longer direct the X-Men First Class sequel, Days of Future Past. Instead, he will now produce the film alongside Simon Kinberg and Laura Schuller-Donner. According to 20th Century Fox, Bryan Singer is the top choice to direct the film.
Now, this is really curious, because he's been sort of in the news for setting up the sequel to First Class, and there's been no issues or anything. No suggestion of any problems. There didn't seem to be any problems during X-Men First Class, and there's no indication as to why he's leaving this movie. And there's no reason why. The only thing can be is if he's got something else coming up and needs to get it done. And supposedly he is working on something with a comic creator, Mark Miller, who created Kick-Ass. So unless there's something there that he needs to get done, I mean, but I can't see why he would need to do that instead of carrying on with X-Men. It's odd.
It is a bit odd, and 20th Century Fox has yet to release a statement about it properly, so I don't know what's going on. Next piece of news, Variety reporting that Ryan Gosling has dropped out of Nicholas Winding Refn's remake of the 1976 science fiction classic Logan's Run. It's unknown why Gosling has dropped out. However, this doesn't mean the end of Refn's and Gosling's working relationship, as they are both teaming up for Only God Forgives, which comes out next year and sees Gosling playing a Thai boxer.
It's another one of those projects that's just been in production hell for years. Now, I am old enough to remember the original Logan's Run with Michael York, I think it was, in it. And it's one that, well, it does stand the test of time, but it is very, if you watch it now, it has got that very 70s look to it. And it was based on a 70s book, which I know is the only reason I can think of why Ryan Gosling has been dropped from it, because the film had the characters at the age of 30 that they had died. The book had them at the age of 21. So Ryan Gosling is now past the age of 30, that they may be thinking, or maybe he's too old to play the part. It's the only thing I can think.
Maybes. Right, I love this news story. I included in it anyway, but according to a new study by the researchers at the University of Westminster, horror films can burn calories. Those who sat down and watched horror films were likely to burn more calories than any other genre, with The Shining coming out on top. Now, this is the top 10 of horror films that can burn calories. 10, Wreck, which can burn 101 calories. 9, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 107. 8, The Blair Witch Project, which can burn 108 calories. 7th is Paranormal Activity, 111. 6 is Nightmare on Elm Street, which burns 118. 5 is Saw, which burns 133 calories. 4, Alien, 152. 3, The Exorcist, 158. Second is Jaws, 161. And first, like I said, The Shining, which can burn 184 calories if you watch it. It's a strange, weird study.
I don't know how they worked that out.
I haven't a clue.
That's just a weird. Somebody got paid to come up with that.
Yeah, Moobs, I am not reading that comment out. Andy, your news stories.
Wally Pfister, the man responsible for cinematography on Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, is looking to get Johnny Depp on board to star in Transcendence, his directorial debut. Christopher Nolan and Emma Thomas are already set to be involved as executive producers on the project, but plot details of the movie are being kept firmly under wraps.
We'll see what Wally Pfister does with his first film.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for him to give over cinematography reign to someone else when he's directing.
Yeah, it'll look really nicely, but
whether or not it's any good depends on what the script's like.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson has revealed that the first Hobbit movie is going to be a running time of about 2 hours and 45 minutes at the moment. That's what he said in an interview with Empire magazine when he was asked about Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. And he said that it'll be about 10 minutes shorter than Fellowship of the Rings. I'm totally tripping over my tongue tonight.
Yeah, and prepare that to be another 30-35 minutes longer when it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD. So you can guarantee an extended cut of the film itself, and it's still pretty long, that.
Yeah, I hope. I'm looking forward to these. The new trailer has got my attention, and we are now only, a month and a half away. So yeah. I am looking forward to that. With Skyfall breaking records in its opening weekend, writer John Logan, who was the main writer of this movie, is being brought back by MGM and Sony to write the next movie, with a mind to releasing it in late November 2014. The movie will most likely go into production next year to make that 2014 release date.
Yeah, I posted a news story up. We don't normally put news stories up on the site itself, but I just thought, because I wrote it for somewhere else, I thought I would throw it up. Skyfall has also taken an estimated £20.1 million at the UK box office, the second highest taken of any film ever. It was also had the highest attendance for any film on a Saturday as well, so it's breaking box office records left, right and centre.
Yeah, when I went and saw it on the Friday, I went to an early evening showing, and it was quite packed, and the cinema was really the most packed I've seen it in quite a while. So it was quite impressive to see the turnout. And the final piece of news this evening is around an Iron Man 3 piece of news, that it's going to get an early release in the UK and several European countries. Similar to how the Avengers was released earlier in this year, Iron Man 3 will be shown in Belgium, the Netherlands, Norway and Italy on April 24th, before being shown in the UK 2 days later on the 26th, and several other places around Europe on the 25th and 26th as well. The movie will not be released in the US until May the 3rd.
Yeah, it's nice that we get things a little bit earlier than compared to America. It's only fair. They get a hell of a lot of stuff more than us. Look at Madagascar 3. They had 4 months before we did.
The one that I'm really annoyed about now is that Cloud Atlas, which just got released out there this last week, doesn't come out here until February, and I really want to see that film.
Yeah, I've been hearing muddled things about the movie, but that's another thing. Right, we're going to a break, and after that we'll have our only review.
Kids, there's nothing more cool than listening to a podcast you like. But if someone podcasts in a place or in a way that you find unfunny, that's no good. So what do? First, you say, lol no. Second, you tell them to GTFO. Third, you get some lolocaust in your luggoles. And most importantly, you have to tell someone. Like your parents, your teacher, or a police officer. We are the Lolocaust. 9 o'clock, Wednesday nights, lolocaust.co.uk. We don't clash with The Apprentice anymore.
Right, welcome back. It's time for the one and only review of the night.
Yeah, we're going to try and do this without spoiling it, if possible, because I know there are a lot of people who haven't seen it, don't want to know in detail. Skyfall is the Bond film directed by Sam Mendes. It's written by Neil Purvis and Robert Wade, as well as John. I don't have his name now again. I had it in John Logan. Yes. Difficult losing things. In it, you have the whole thing of Bond is back again, but there is a whole issue of that. At the start of the movie, he's pursuing someone in Turkey who's stolen a hard drive full of the identities of a whole load of NATO agents that are trying to recover and stop it from going public to actually stop these agents being put at risk and potentially killed. Something goes wrong, and eventually things don't quite work out for Bond, and he needs to sort of get back into his routine and find himself out of a rut that he's got into. The whole thing is all focusing on this whole thing of Bond and Judi Dench playing M, who is then essentially coming up for review by the committee that governs the intelligence services, which are led by a character played by Ralph Fiennes. And the whole thing is all sort of this question of you have whether or not someone has outlived their usefulness and has to update things to be sort of a more modern age than they have been in the past. You've got in there the great performances from Daniel Craig, from Judi Dench, from Ralph Fiennes as well. You've also got in there Naomi Harris, who plays an operative who works with Bond called Eve. And you have Ben Whishaw, who plays the new the new Q. I'm going to take a minute here to untangle my clip. My tongue while you listen to this clip. Oh dear, play it.
Always makes me feel a little melancholy. A grand old warship being ignominiously hauled away for scrap. The inevitability of time, don't you think? What do you see?
A bloody big ship. Excuse me.
007. I'm your new quartermaster.
You must be joking.
Why, because I'm not wearing a lab coat?
Because you still have spots.
My complexion is hardly relevant.
Your competence is.
Age is no guarantee of efficiency.
And youth is no guarantee of innovation.
I'll hazard I can do more damage on my laptop sitting in my pyjamas before my first cup of Earl Grey than you can do in a year in the field.
Oh, so why do you need me?
Every now and then a trigger has to be pulled.
Or not pulled. It's hard to know which in your pyjamas. Q.
007.
And we have some people in the chat room who are wrong, claiming that Roger Moore is the best Bond. Sorry, no, he's not. There's Sean Connery is the best one, and Daniel Craig is the best one since him. Now, we're not going to discuss the plot any further because we don't want to give away things that happen in it. There are a few things that are quite, you won't see them coming. We're not going to go into detail on that. What we are going to say is about the fact of the you've got in there the main villain on this is I keep saying his name. How do you say his name again? I'll say it wrong if I try. Javier Bardem.
Yep.
Who is quite well known to a lot of people for No Country for Old Men.
Yes.
Yes. I keep forgetting titles of things now. But he plays the lead villain in this with a kind of ill reverence, which is a weird thing. He is the major flaw for me as far as I'm concerned with the film, because of the fact of his villain has motives and they are explained, but he's just not quite right for it. And a lot of the time his performance feels like he is trying to do a Heath Ledger Joker from The Dark Knight. It's just it's very distracting.
What I had a problem with Javier Bardem's character, Silva, is the fact that at the start of the film, when you see Bond get up to and catch up to him on that big, huge, massive island, now that's not a spoiler, and you find out what he did to this island where he's at, it's sort of like menace, and there's a sexual tension between them both during the first confrontation. And then, in my opinion, there is a part of the movie which his character reminded me a lot of Hannibal Lecter. The fact that you don't know what he's going to do, but he's still got this real big horrible menace behind him. And during the movie, he loses that a lot, and his character just becomes one-dimensional when he decides to ditch what his intentions were and instead focus on one thing, and that's Bond himself. And that just, in my opinion, it just felt like Mendes threw away what Bardem was building up with Silva and just made him a stereotypical bad guy.
There is this whole thing as well that, I mean, later on in the movie, it is like he starts to become a bit unhinged, but it's still too over the top. His performance is really distracting in some parts, which is one of the things that I just didn't like about him. The only other thing that I have an issue with in the film, because I did enjoy it, but it's too long. It is 2 hours and 24 minutes. Unnecessarily. There's a lull in the middle because of the fact of it gets to a point when it's not that it doesn't have any action, because it has action in it, but just there's a point in the middle when nothing is really happening, either to move the plot along or to keep us entertained visually or as an action scene or anything when there could have been one. There's just it slows to a really dull pace and then picks up things again. Whereas at that point, I was basically sitting there thinking, come on, tick on, what's going? Something else happened. But aside from that, and I have given it a good mark on another site because of the fact that I did enjoy it. I think it is the best Bond film since Casino Royale, which for me is still my favourite Bond film. Quantum of Solace was absolutely terrible and deplorable piece of rubbish, which this completely tramples all over. At its best moments, it does as good as Casino Royale. It doesn't do better than it for me. A lot of people are saying they think it's the best Bond film ever. I don't think it's that good, but I do think it is good.
Yeah, personally, I'm not a Bond fan at all. So I was toiling whether to go and see this, but I had to, considering that it was the only film that we were going to review. And I don't mind giving a series a chance. Even if I don't like the series, you never know what a film is going to be like until you go to see it. So I went in with sort of like trepidations and low expectations, and it met my average expectations of it. It's not a bad film, but for a big, huge, massive series like this, the problem I've always had with Bond movies is I find that all the movies are just carbon copies of each other. They have exactly the same kind of setup, and it follows just a proper checklist, and this is the same. The bad guy, like I said, Javier Bardem, is not very good. Silver, he loses his menace through the film. There is two scenes I really liked the way they were shot. The fact that there is one fight scene that happens in Shanghai where you see sort of like the outlines and the sort of like silhouettes of the characters rather than just the characters themselves. And leading up to that, there is no dialogue. So it's just all about Bond trying to capture the person who he's capturing. And I like that. I like the way that scene's shot.
It's very... One thing I will say about the writing on it for Bond, for the character writing, it is very personal to the Bond character, a lot of the film. It's a much more personal Bond film. It's a much more darker tone Bond film as well. Even though there are little slight bits of humour in it, it's a very darker film than we've really seen in the Bond film for a while. And Daniel Craig does pull it off really well.
Yeah, I'm getting told here that there is not enough gore in the film for me because evidently I only like film that's got a lot of gore in it. That's not the case though. I have a problem with Bond films, and also the other scene that I think was very well shot is closer to the end of the movie, but it's just the style of the way it was shot, and it added more impact of the way the end of the film happened. I agree with you the fact that it's way too long. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and something like that, but it's way too long. And the fact that the set piece, which involves the train in London, which everybody's seen already, it's been in clips, etc., it just felt a bit, Mendes thinking, we need a big set piece here, let's do this with the train. And the train just looked completely out of place. Considering that this is a $200 million film as well, they could have gotten better special effects with that train sequence.
I did have a problem with it. I think that was actually all practical. I don't think it was effects. I think it was practical. I could be wrong on that, but it looked practical to me, and I can generally tell a lot of the time if it was effects, I didn't have a problem with it. But I think that one of the things I kind of like about it is this whole thing of going back to the basics. There's not a whole thing of Bond having loads of gadgets. I mean, in the scene that we heard the clip of there, right after that, he's given his basically what's going to become his standard equipment now by Q, and all he's given is a gun and a little radio transmitter. That's it. No special phone gadgets or anything. No scanner. No laser pen. No exploding things. He's just given a gun, which has got a fingerprint thing on it, so it can tell when it's him and no one else, and a little radio thing, which is a little pocket-sized button thing he presses to send a distress signal. That's it, which is kind of nice to not have the whole cliche of gadgets because of the fact that everything is a gadget nowadays.
Yeah, and no Booger, he does not have a self-shaking martini. However, I did notice a mistake, because there is a mistake in the scene which includes a martini and Bond being at a bar. And I noticed that he doesn't even take a drink of the martini, yet the glass is half empty.
Oh, God, we're not getting to that one.
Yeah, considering that you do see the glass get fully filled up, and then when the camera comes behind Bond, you see that the glass is half empty. So, yeah, I noticed a mistake. And it just shows you how interested I was with the film if I'm spotting mistakes in the movie. So
yeah, I mean, I just got overall, if you're not a Bond, oh God, that's it. I'm taking up drinking because it sounds like I have. If you're not a Bond fan, I think you may enjoy it, but maybe not as much as someone who is a Bond fan, because Bond fans are really going to eat this up.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The people who are going to give it the plaudits by saying it's the best Bond ever, or it's up there with the best Bond films, are the people who are diehard Bond fans. If you're not a Bond fan like myself, this will not change your mind about the series. You'll think it's a decent enough action film with some decent acting in it, but you'll only find it decent like I did. And it will not change my mind about the Bond series. But that will not stop me from going to see the next Bond film, because, like I said, I will go to see a film in a series, even if I didn't like the series, because you don't know what a film is going to be like unless you watch it. You can't make your mind up about a film.
Yeah. Just before we're wrapping up this half of the show, shall we just mention about the Halloween show coming up on Wednesday?
Yeah, Halloween special on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, not 7:30. Moved the time back just slightly. We are going to go over all things Halloween-esque. So if you've got any Halloween stories, any favourite horror films, horror stories, things like favourite TV series which involves horror, then just let us know on Twitter at AHDVD for Andy, at Cryptic Tadpole for me, or at Monday Movie Show, and get involved on the show on Wednesday at 8 o'clock with the Halloween special.
Yeah. And anyone in the UK, be sure to be listening live, because we will be giving away live on the show some DVDs, horror DVDs on the night. So, and it will be on the night. Entry for the actual to win the DVDs will be during the show, and they will be given out during the show. So you need to be in the UK for that, and you need to be listening live, and you need to be 18 or over, because some of them are rated 18.
Yeah, I have a Blu-ray to give away as well, which is horror related, and like I said, we will be giving, Whoop, free, S with a hit with a capital S. So yeah, free stuff. Right, we will be back in a moment with the Blu-ray and DVD section of the show. If you're listening back to this, please give us a rating on the place where you listen back to us. I can't even speak now.
Yeah, it's not just me. I've infected you with tongueitis.
Yeah, sorry, Girl Rage. I know you don't live in the UK, but it will cost us an arm and a leg to send things to Vancouver where you are at.
And plus, when they get to you, unless you have a region-free player, they won't even play for you, because they'll be region-coded.
Yeah,
so that's why.
We can send you our admiration and something like that, and I think Andy might try to send you a cookie, but that's the best we could do.
Can you imagine that, if it's in a cookie all the way to Canada, which is where she is? That would no.
I think she would prefer the DVD over the cookie.
Yeah, but sorry, no, it's not likely, because the fact of that it would be too costly and wouldn't work when it got there.
Yep. So we will be back in a moment with the Blu-ray and DVD part of the show.